Welcome everyone to this week's current events class. I am Sabbath Rachel Lafleur, and we are coming to you from our homes as we are quarantined as a result of the coronavirus. This week we have video footage, which our technicians put together, and I want to give a great thanks to our technicians as they have been working in with Pastor Manning, helping to get the word out in these very, very dark days. We need the word of God. So thank you to the technicians who are working on a daily basis. And thank you again for helping us to get this current events class out. Today, I'm joined with a few of our high school students, and I want to introduce them to you before we start. So I have Layla and Yegbu, who is a junior in our high school. Then I have Kimberly Jackson, who is a sophomore. And last but certainly not least, I have Israel Lewis, who is a freshman in ATLAH High School. And how are you doing?
Good.
Fine.
Good. Great.
All right, great. Now, again, the reasons as to why we have to have this video conference is due to the coronavirus. I must say, before we start our discussions, that it is great to see you all. I have not seen you all in a few weeks now, almost a month now. So to see your faces is a great thing today as we are here for the current events class. I want to start off by asking you how you have been. How have you been coping? How has it been being home these past few weeks and so forth? I want you to share your experiences.
Um, it's
Go
been
ahead.
good.
Go ahead.
Um,
Go ahead.
me and my family, like we get a little closer. We have like a lot of talks or whatever. We be doing church online. It's a lot of virtual things that we do that we'll do on a normal basis. Um, I have to do like grocery runs because the people I'm residing with, they're over 65, so it's critical for them that they can't go outside. So I do like a lot of running around if I have to.
Right. So Kimberly, so before you continue, you live with your grandparents, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So when you go outside, as you just stated, you have to do the grocery runs and pick up the food and so forth. Do you take the extra precautions as they're stating? Do you wear your masks and do you put on the gloves and so forth?
Yes, we have a filter mask, so I wear that. We got a package of gloves from the state or whatever recently. I don't really wear exposure clothing. I leave, when I come back, I spray myself down. I wash out everything that we buy. Yeah.
Okay. And Layla, MYRIAD, as we call you, how has it been for you these past few weeks?
I mean, it's been different because we've been having to do school at home, and we can't go outside. As you said, we're quarantined, but like I feel like that the workload is very heavy. It's heavier than what it was at
You're talking
school
about school,
because
right? Okay.
yeah, the workload is like heavier because now we get assignments posted every single day.
Right.
There's always work to do, and I just find it a lot. It's like a lot. I mean, it's not stressful, but like it's a load.
Stressful.
It's stressful. It's a lot. But I've been doing store runs too for my mom because I don't want her out there. Like I'd rather go out there than her. And like I wear gloves, masks and all the necessities to go outside. Yeah.
Okay. And Israel, how has it been for you being home these past few weeks?
It been fine because I still go to church on Wednesdays and Saturdays, so like I still get some type of work from Pastor Manny. But rather than that, the teachers, I've been getting a lot of work recently.
Mm-hmm.
Every day you just get a lot of work, and it's not stressful, but yeah, it's something.
So I hear from the three of you, as you just stated, the online schooling as some of you stated, it's a lot of work. It can be stressful. So I take it that you actually prefer being in school, meeting with the teachers face to face and doing online.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Because they was not giving all this work when we was doing this face to face.
Yes, like especially for my science class, like we are ahead of the game, but like she just is like bah, 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 bah. I know this time and she's still Elder Bennett hold on now. But yeah, it's really.
So let me ask you this question: are you all completing your work? Are you getting your work done?
Yes, honestly, like I would wake up, right, do my work. I would not take a break to eat at all until like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, because I'm doing work. Then after that, I will have to finish more work. Then I wouldn't even be done. So much work. Math specifically.
Okay, let me ask you all this question, because some of you, Kimberly and Layla, you both stated that you had to go out and go to the grocery stores, right? What has your experiences been having to go to the grocery stores? Because it's not the same as it was before. So what is your experience now?
I'm going first. So let me tell you. So I had to go to Best Buy recently. Best Market, my fault. I don't know where my mask is at. I have like a mask or whatever, gloves. So I'll go there. You know, it's a 6 feet distance, they said, from people. So like, it's this big old family, like 12,000 kids. They all over the place, and they all scattered about. And then the father had the nerve when I walked past them. Oh, back away, back away. I'm like, how about if you keep them in a certain area with each other, then maybe that won't be a factor. And like everyone, like certain people are like ignorant to it, so like they see me move away and they'll move next to me again, and I'm like, I need my distance. Like I don't want to bring nothing back to my grandparents because they're very special to me. I don't want nothing happening to them, so that's why I kind of take extra precautions. And
are you all having to wait outside the grocery stores before you can go in? I've seen lines outside of stores because they're only allowing a certain amount of people to enter into the stores. Have you all had that experience?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I feel like where I live, people really don't care about this quarantine because when was the last time I went outside? I went outside maybe 2 days ago, and there's like a lot of people on the street, like roaming the streets, hanging around. There's like a lot of people in the supermarket, and I'm just like, oh, so I guess they don't care about the quarantine or whatever. I mean, everyone's in the aisle next to each other.
Right. And why do you think that people are not paying attention to this? Israel, why do you think that people are disregarding the precautions that have been given to us, wearing masks and so forth, social distancing? Why do you think that people are not paying attention to those things?
They probably think that they're not going to get it because on my floor, a lot of people hang out in the hallway, and my parents be like talking and like, been saying, why aren't they like taking the coronavirus seriously? And they'll take it seriously when one of them has it, and like, stuff like that.
But otherwise, they're not taking it seriously. You know, one of the things that initially during this coronavirus was that it was something that was just affecting older people, the elderly, and now we have seen over these past few weeks to a month, should I say, that it affects young people as well. I know it was stated that recently, not too long ago, should I say, in this past month, that 3 young children have died from suspected coronavirus. And as we spoke about all of those children, I don't know if you have seen news footage. You saw all of those young people out on the beaches in Florida during spring break week.
Yeah.
Well, it has been stated that 40 of those people, those young people on the beaches, were infected with the coronavirus thereafter. Now, I'm sure that it's a lot more than that, but to think that this is just an oldest person's disease or something that is just going to affect older people, we now see that that's not the case. So as you all are talking about your experiences and that people are disregarding this and so forth, Are you looking at people as you all have to go out and purchase your foods for your families? Do you see people wearing a lot of masks, or do you see them disregarding that as well?
There's a decent amount of people wearing masks, but like they just don't maintain the 6 feet distance. It'd be like more or less like crackheads, if I could say that. They don't really be having masks, nothing. Like I had to go to Lexington 125th, and none of them was abiding by that.
Yeah, that's a very drug infested area. So Layla, in your area, do you see people wearing masks at all, or it's just
it's only like a few of them, not like it's not a lot of people. Like I would say like mostly I would see like older people wearing the mask and like and some men, but it's not a lot of people wearing the mask.
So let me ask you all this question, and I've stated this last week to the middle school students as I met with them last week. As high school students, as young people, looking at all of this, looking at the coronavirus, looking at how many people have been infected, how many people have died thus far, how is this affecting you mentally and spiritually? Like, how do you think, has it changed the way you look at things? Has it changed your perspectives in the way that you look at things now as opposed to how you looked at it before this?
Yes, that's changed because like family wise, we recently had a death and people can't go inside the hospitals or nothing unless you have like something actually happening. She had to go related to her asthma, but then she later died. So no one was able to be there with her. She died scared and alone, and that took a toll on everyone because it's really serious. And like, if there's something wrong, you can't go in with no one. You gotta be by yourself.
Right. And this family member you're speaking about, Kimberly, died from the coronavirus?
No, she had asthma complications.
She had asthma complications.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're reading that a lot in the news that
the respiratory problems.
Yes, and that people are having to die alone because they can't have people come into contact with them. And so, again, as we're looking at all of this, it's quite sad. But do any of you know people who are close by you that's been affected by the coronavirus?
Yeah.
I think some man at my mom's job, he caught it or something, but I don't think she hasn't been in contact with him, but that's really basically it.
Okay. Because as we're looking at it, I have online class as well. And this morning I was on my online class, and as the professor was talking, one of the students said that she and her grandparents have the coronavirus, all three of them. She lives with her grandparents. They all have the coronavirus. Her grandmother is in the hospital because of the coronavirus, but also more so because she had cancer. So on top of the cancer, she now has coronavirus, and she stated that her and her grandfather were home resting, trying to overcome this. What do you miss? Because obviously we can't do the things that we were doing before. We can't even go to the supermarkets as we once used to before. The movie theaters are closed. The restaurants are closed with the exception of doing takeout and delivery. What do you miss about all of this? I mean, before, should I say, all of this took place?
I miss going outside and like taking the train and going to school and like shopping around. Like we honestly can't do that anymore because of this virus, and it's killing me because inside here is really,
it's been tough.
It's been rough. Yeah, very rough.
Okay. And Kimberly, what were you going to say?
I miss being with my family. I miss getting my hair done, my nails done, going shopping and everything. Because like now we're just secluded to what we have in our houses, and it gets boring after a while.
I miss
Israel. What do you miss the most?
I miss seeing people on the church, like on Saturdays and stuff, because I'm there with the media staff, and just five of us, and you can't see people in the pews and stuff.
Do you think that this is going to be our new norm as far as what we're dealing with right now? In other words, obviously the coronavirus is not going to last forever. At some point, when God has designated, it's going to stop because there are other things that are going to take place. And we'll talk about that later on as we continue our discussions. But do you think that it will ever go back to being the way we used to know it? Or we just have to face this new norm?
I don't think it's going to go back to being normal because after this virus, I think people's just going to be like, still stay away from me. Still, after it's over, like, it's not going to go back to normal. That's how I feel.
I read that they're trying to say that it will leave when the heat comes. So as of summertime. So I feel like it won't really go back to normal because, like, we still going to, like, it'll probably still be lingering around in the summertime. They said the heat might kill it. But, like, in the wintertime, we're going to go back to this same thing. So, yeah.
I agree with Kim.
And what about you, Israel?
No, I agree with them.
What'd you say?
I agree with them too.
You know, on that note that Kimberly just stated about some people are speculating or making theories that it's going to die down when the weather gets warmer. I had a discussion about that with a professor this morning. And, you know, because we were talking about viruses and pathogens and bacteria and so forth. And, you know, I brought up that very statement, Kimberly, that you just made, that some people are saying, oh, well, you know, when the weather gets warmer, it's going to die down. But what I said to the professor was, if that's the case, and it's been said that it's going to die down when the weather gets warmer, then what about those areas where the weather is already warm, where the climate is already warm or hot, like places like Florida and other places like Texas and Arizona, where the climate is always warm and very hot? Obviously, it hasn't died down there. They're still dealing with the coronavirus, just like everywhere else in the United States. And the professor said to me, you know, well, that's just a theory that was stated because we know that viruses have a very difficult time in dealing with. But the thing I thought about was that they don't really know. And as we're listening to all of these top officials and so forth, make all of these claims and talk about the vaccinations and so forth, the real answer is they don't know. And they're looking for any tangible, they're looking for anything that can be touched or something that you can see to try to explain why this virus is taking place. But as we are taught by the Honorable James David Manning, that the virus is because of the Lord. God has put this into effect. So my question to you, based upon all of this, is knowing that truth, as you have heard from Pastor Manning, and you listen to what he has spoken about and what he's preached, and you've read Matthew 24, where it says all of this is going to take place because of the tribulation. How do you then, or do you convey this to people, your family members? Are they open to receive that, or you just don't bother with that? How do you deal with all of that? Anyone can answer.
Okay. Well, I think because my mom, she was telling me, she was like, she feels like these are the times of revelations. And I was like, yeah, that's true. Cause, you know, that's what, you know, as a man, I've been teaching about, you know, the dark days, the time is coming or whatever. But honestly, I just think it's a time to get right, you know, do what's right, make up for what you have done and stuff. And yeah.
So you're saying that people need to repent?
Yeah.
Okay. Kimberly, what do you think?
I was like, God is probably going through the people who is like not following his word. They're like they wasn't really listening to him before when he was giving them a chance to get right with him, and now he's honestly just taking it into his hands. My grandmother stated that it's all in God's hands now, and all we can do is follow and listen to what he has to say, and that's all.
Okay. And so let me ask you all this question as I've listened to all of you make your statements. Knowing the truth, knowing that God is in control of all of this, and it's important that we continue to say that because so many people are saying that this is a hoax, that this is not real, this is made up, and this is being blown out of proportion, and so forth. And so when we talk about people And as you have all just stated, that God is in control of this, and you're absolutely right about that. Do you think that people are listening? Do you think that people are adhering to the fact that this is a move of God and so forth? And I'm talking about not in what you're viewing on the news and TV, but around the people that you're surrounded by.
No, I don't. I don't know. I don't think they know, because if they would have took it seriously, if like that.
And why do you say that they don't know? What actions or responses have been making, which would cause you to say that they don't know?
They're hanging out in the hallway all together, even though it'll be 6 feet. They will be 6 feet away from each other. They're not. They're just out there smoking and stuff. And so when one of them gets it, that's when they'll take it seriously. But that's the thing my mom and dad were talking about. It makes them angry because they don't understand why they are doing this, and they don't understand that it's real. It's not like fake.
Right.
I would like to counter that, because they're technically still inside their building. They say you can't go outside.
Right.
In the hallway inside the building. So, I mean, I guess they're still abiding by the rules.
So, Kimberly, you're saying that you don't think they're thinking in terms of that way as well, that I'm not outside, I'm inside my building, so I'm following the guidelines. That's what you're saying, right? And with the people around you, your family, your friends, and so forth, do you think that they are thinking about it in terms of that this is a move in the hand of God, or they are just looking at it scientifically as the world is looking at it?
About half of my family goes to church, so half of them is taking the faith through God, and the other half is just like the government is doing it, science, whatever. So yeah, that's how that goes.
Okay. Let me ask you all this question. As we are talking about the coronavirus, recently in the news, and I know that you all have seen this, the coronavirus is not just affecting the humans, but it's affecting everything. I saw many articles in which animals are being affected by this as well. There was the recent article that it was a tiger infected in the Bronx Zoo, and around the world we have seen the how animals are responding to the coronavirus, as far as people having being quarantined in their homes, that animals are just running amok. They're running through the streets, as you saw in Taiwan and so forth with the monkeys, and pigs are running around in the streets in Paris, and rats are running around in the streets more so in New Orleans.
That's been the thing forever. Rats been running the streets.
Yeah, rats have been running the streets, but more so, they're running the streets more so now as the streets have been emptied out because people are staying in their homes. So when you see all of this taking place, and again, as young people, how do you deal with all of this? I guess is what I'm trying to ask you. As young people, having your norm, what's normal to you being taken away, being able to go shopping or getting your nails done, as Kimberly stated, or going to the movies and doing those things. Fearful? Does it make you depressed? How are you mentally wise with all of this?
I'm like so like, it's like a part of my mind is like, we stay here forever, we stuck inside the house. And the other side is like, this is going to be over soon. Don't worry. Like, you're going to be back with society sooner or later. Yeah.
And what about you, Myriad?
I feel annoyed because they keep pushing back the dates. Like, first they were saying April 20th, now they saying April 29th. Like, come on, I can't be in here any longer. I'm sorry, but like, I need society. Like, in here, I mean, it's cool to be home, relax, do your work, but at some point, like, they need to get it together, because at some point I need to go back outside to see society. This is
and what about you, Israel?
Personally, I'm fine, but I'm not fearful, because the pastor stated like we're part of the elect, and like
Right.
we're gonna get through this and
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
But again, I'm not fearful. I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm
So
not fearful my sister and stuff, but I'm fine.
it seems to me, Israel, that you like actually doing online learning.
Yes and no, because it's a lot of work. But then again, I can get it done. There's no excuse.
Okay. And in terms of school, because obviously all of you, what I'm hearing from you all is that you all miss going to school and having face-to-face contact with your peers as well as your teachers. What?
I ain't say all
You don't miss it?
I
You don't miss
that.
school?
No, I miss the us getting equal ratio of work part of school. I don't miss the contact and all that.
No, I don't look. I miss my peers honestly because like at times I be talking to myself in the house. Like that's what it is. Like right now, I don't have a sibling right now, so like it's just me, and I'm just like, oh God, when can I get to school?
So Layla, what do you do? Because I'm really hearing the frustration in the tone of your voice with all of this past few weeks. What do you do to try to kind of ease some of that frustration?
What I do is I watch movies. I watch a lot of movies. I go on YouTube and just watch videos. At times, I'll scroll through Instagram, do work, mostly do work, pass the time, and then watch videos and stuff. But then again, all of that stuff gets boring after a while. And it's just like, what happened to my everyday routine of getting up, going out, coming back, doing the same thing,
Yeah. And how, I think Kimberly mentioned it earlier that her family is closer. Has this brought you closer, a stronger bond with your family members, or are you all at the point where you all are ready to strangle one another and you just can't deal with being with one another and so forth?
So like as that I meant like me and my uncle, like we got closer. Like he's not that older than me, so it's like we kind of closer now. Like we be hanging out, whatever, playing around. My grandmother, she was crazy. Like miss going outside. She's like screaming a lot. She needs to go outside. My grandfather, he chilling or whatever, And other than that, like we be like in the living room, like all chilling, watching TV, playing games or whatever. So it's reasonable now.
So your grandmother wants to go back outside.
Yeah, she needs to. She needs to go to her church and all that.
And what about you, Israel? How have you been coping?
I've been bothering my mom a lot, and I've been bothering everybody, to be honest. But
really,
we all got closer than before because I don't really talk to them, but like quarantine. Are
you talking? So you didn't talk to them before, but are you talking to them a lot more? Is that what you're saying?
A lot more, yes. Because before I just come home and just chill.
Okay. Let me ask you all this question. As we are dealing with Tribulation Trump, I don't even know where to start with him, but dealing with him, watching his daily briefings and so forth, and I'm not sure whether you all have been paying attention to the things that he's been saying and so forth, but watching him and knowing that he has been called Tribulation Trump from Pastor Manning, God gave that name to Pastor Manning. One of the things that I was thinking about was that we didn't know we were going to be dealing with the coronavirus in 2020 of this year. So as you are watching all of this and you're watching Tribulation Trump speak and so forth, what are you all thinking?
I feel like he doesn't really necessarily know what to do. That he might be in fear himself of this virus. I don't think he's doing a good job leading us as a nation. That he needs to do better because honestly, it's just people dying left and right. So he needs to get together.
You know what? Why don't we take a break on that note because we haven't taken a break yet. Let's take a quick break and then we'll pick up the discussion when we get back from the break.
When you see the smoke.
All right, we are back from the break. And again, I'm Sabbath Rachel Lafleur, seated here with a few of our high school students. And we are discussing today the coronavirus. As we all know, that this is certainly a current event. And as we were talking before the break, I was asking you all about Tribulation Trump in regards to the kind of president he is, and the fact that God gave Pastor Manning the name of Tribulation Trump a few years ago. And I was asking you all, what do you think about what you have been witnessing so far? So Kimberly, we're going to start with you, as Layla spoke before the break.
I don't know. I mean, he seems like he clueless himself. He's just really just speaking out the side of his neck, calling it the Chinese virus.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, being racist and stuff. And they said that one of his like people he shook hands with gave it to him or something like that. So
well,
he's the main one giving it.
He took another test, and they stated that his test was negative, which I thought was interesting. And actually, as that news was brought forth that he was tested again for the second time for the coronavirus, it was negative. Someone stated, "How come we always getting bad news?" As opposed to say that they had hoped it would have been positive. But dealing with Tribulation Trump, as you have heard Pastor Manning state time and time again, he is the person who was chosen to trigger in the tribulation. And these are the days that we are living in as we are witnessing all of this. And I'm not sure, for young people viewing all of this, whether or not you really fully understand the extent to the days in which we're living. This is historical. These are historic days that we're living in spiritually. These are historical days because we're living in the moment that the Bible has talked about. We have not seen yet the famines and the earthquakes and other things that are going to take place, but they're going to happen as well. So these are historical days that you all are witnessing with your eyes, very powerful days spiritually. And I know that you all are paying attention. You have no choice but to pay attention, as Pastor Manning has stated, that the coronavirus, has caught the attention of everyone, whether or not they're paying or actually spiritually paying attention to it is another story. Most people are not. But again, as we are watching all of this, one of the things that I want to ask you all about, because I know that you all are keeping up with the articles, is that as they're talking about a vaccine, right? They're doing research and making a vaccine and so forth. 2 French doctors suggested that they try out or do testing or the trial of a vaccine in the continent of Africa. And I wanted to ask you all what you thought about this. Now, the World Health Organization stated that they are certainly not going to do such a thing because it's absolutely racist, as those 2 French doctors made those statements. But what do you all think about that, in terms that they want to start doing, or they suggested doing testing of these vaccines in Africa?
I think that is racist. I mean, it's racist, but then it's like among the fact that we've been through the most with all this stuff that the Caucasian people has did. Like, they should do that on like the Europeans or something, or like Chinese people. Like, not to be racist, like they gotta do that with them. Like, why y'all trying to like do that with us? Like, why was we the first people that popped up in your mind? Like, how about y'all try that on like the Europeans or someone? Like, it don't always have to be the Africans like taking a bullet for them, because then we still get treated badly after we helping y'all doing something.
Layla?
I feel like they think that Africans are guinea pigs, so they test whatever they want to test. But honestly, that's like, it is racist, because from prior events, everybody always wants to, Africa, let's see if Africa and I'm like, it's racist. It's racist. It's not fair, honestly, because the virus didn't even originate from Africa. It came from Wuhan, China. So run tests, they should do it on their people and experiment there.
And Israel, what do you think?
Yep. They're doing that. I think they're doing that because they think we're not important. We're not important in the world.
Yeah, yeah. Again, watching the news and so forth. In 2005, we went to China, and I remember in 2005 watching most Chinese people wearing masks at that time, and I thought to myself, "My gosh, why do they have on these masks and so forth, and why they're walking around with it and so forth?" It was just to me a little silly at that time, having been my first time to China. But I will tell you now, the days in which we are living in, looking outside my window and seeing people walking around with masks, I see just as much people walking around with masks here in the United States as I did there in China in 2005. And I thought to myself, wow, my gosh, look where we've come to. I mean, in the beginning of March, in the beginning of this year, 2020, I remember we were in church doing all-night prayer meeting. We did not know that we were going to be facing this by March of this year, that we were going to be home a month. And so when you think about things like that, does it cause you to think, if we didn't know that then and we're dealing with this now, what else don't we know for the future that's going to take place? Have you all thought in that kind of way?
Yes. So like it's gonna be more tragic, like more stuff is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, this is not only the first, it's gonna be way more.
Yeah. And how are you all preparing yourselves to deal with because again, there are other things that are going to take place, and because it's stated in the Bible, it's just going to happen. How are you all preparing yourselves to deal with it? Or is it possible to prepare yourself to deal with it? I think it's a better question.
Yeah, it's possible.
No, I don't think
it's possible. If you just stick on
That's what you say it's possible. How? Tell me how you think it's possible.
I think it's possible because if you just stick under Pastor Mary, we can get through this, and he would just lead us to the right way.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I'm in 100% agreement with you. Layla, what do you think?
I think we're supposed to stay prayed up. Make sure that you talk to the Lord. Repent, as I said earlier, and listen to Pastor, because he knows what's gonna happen and so forth, and just stick close by. So, yeah.
Do you all find yourselves evangelizing to people even more so, or do you find yourselves the same as you all understand the seriousness of the times in which we're living spiritually? So trying to convey that message to your loved ones even more so?
No, I think more or less they do it to me. I don't really say nothing.
And Layla, what about you?
I don't really say anything.
You don't say anything?
No.
Why?
I don't know, honestly. I feel, I don't know. I just don't say anything.
Do you think it's because you feel that they're just going to disregard what you are saying, or you're a little fearful of saying anything to them?
They might just disregard it.
Okay. And Israel, what about you?
I don't say nothing because I think everybody here, I think we all feel the same way.
Yeah.
Towards it.
Well, in your household, I'm sure that's the case, but I'm talking about outside of your household. Do you find yourself trying to evangelize to people more so? Because when you see people dying at the rate that we've been witnessing, and you see people suffering, and Kimberly, as you spoke about your family member having died alone, there are many other people who have died alone as a result of this coronavirus. So what I'm asking this question is, do you feel the need to try to get that message even more so out to people to really kind of repent, as you all have stated people need to do, and change their ways and so forth?
Probably not. I'll probably need guidance in doing that because I'm just a kid and most people mine, so they would just disregard me. So, yeah.
So you don't think they'll take you seriously?
No.
Okay, all right. And Layla, do you feel the same way?
Yeah.
You don't think they'll take you seriously?
Because most people have their own opinions on stuff, so they might not agree. They just might think it's a government thing or it's a Chinese thing.
Well, let's go back to school. As you all are talking about school, I'm sure that you all have seen recently in the news that the New York State has canceled the Regents exam for this.
Yes, that's so dumb. It's not dumb, but like let me explain, because people think it's oh my God, we're not taking the Regents, hooray! But they're gonna make us take the Regents in the summertime or either once we get back to school. Like this is not okay, because honestly, it's gonna be Regents on top of Regents because you're going into another grade. You're gonna have to take last year's Regents and this year's Regents. Like it's gonna be a lot. It's like
no, let me counter that.
It's chaotic.
Let me counter that.
Go ahead, Kimberly.
Do what they want. So if they said they're gonna cancel the Regents, they're gonna cancel it. They all going into the garbage, and we're gonna continue on next year with the regular time and regular programming. And that's how that's gonna be. They're the government.
They're gonna make us take the ones that we missed.
They know.
I'm pretty sure.
Israel, what do you think? What do you think, Israel?
I don't know.
What do you think about the fact?
I think about the diplomas. Because
that was going to be my next question. What do you think about the fact that many students, whether it be elementary, middle school, high school, and even college, will not be able to have a graduation ceremony? It is more likely that even in our school that we won't be able to have a graduation ceremony this year. We have never missed a graduation ceremony. I'm sure every school can say the same thing, but many students who are scheduled to graduate and who are looking forward to wearing a cap and gowns are not going to be able to celebrate that in the way that is traditional for many schools. What do you think about that?
I don't think that's right. I just thank God I'm not graduating this year, because I would have been really upset. But one thing I wanted to say is that I read that they was trying to make us repeat the same grade next semester. I'm not really fond of that, because who wants to graduate? Like, I'm not trying to graduate at 19 years old. How does that look? Like, that is not good at all. So honestly, I think that it's not fair to people who is scheduled to graduate this year, because I know there's many like young kids, older kids, even in our school, the 5th grade is supposed to be going to middle school and we can't have a ceremony. Like that's really that's messed up. But what I can say is that I hope this coronavirus is gone by this year, because I'm trying to graduate, honestly. I'm not trying to do no online graduation ceremony. Like I'm trying to, but that's what I got to say about that.
And what do you think, Israel, because you brought it up about the diplomas, the fact that many students won't be able to participate in the graduation ceremony this year?
I feel bad. I mean, I got 3 years left for me, but people who's graduating today, this year and next year, I don't know.
Don't say next year. Ooh. Better not go into next year. I really hope it doesn't. I
mean, the thing is, we don't know when the coronavirus is going to end. And even though we are listening to all these people make all of these statements and theories and so forth, they don't know either. They have no idea. They don't have a clue as to when it's going to end. And I think yesterday I read this in the article that New York thinks, or the Governor Cuomo thinks, that New York may have reached its peak because in one day it looks like there haven't been a high number of deaths, and so they're thinking that maybe it's reached its peak and so forth, but they don't really know because they have to continue to look at the numbers. The numbers that they're showing us is not accurate. There are a lot more people that have been infected by the coronavirus than we know of. There are a lot more people that have died from the coronavirus than they are telling us. And so as you listen to all of these various top officials give all of this information regarding those who have been infected and those who have died, there's a lot more that we don't know about. But the bottom line is that they don't know. And the reasons that they don't know is because this is a spiritual thing. This is all by the hand of God. So, Layla, I know that you don't want this to go to be prolonged. I know that you don't want this to continue. But I will say that we don't want to stop what God is doing. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true.
If this is by the hand of God, and I say if, but I know that it is, and we know that to be true, then you don't want to tell God, okay, God, well, end it right now. He obviously is doing it for a reason. Stated yourselves, people are disregarding even this coronavirus. Israel, you stated that until they catch it themselves, they're not going to take this serious. Even witnessing all these people dying around them, some people having close family members dying from the coronavirus, they're still not taking it serious. As you've spoken about, people are still hanging out in the streets, hanging out in the buildings, or doing whatever they're doing. They are disregarding this. So let me ask you this question, because we need to end soon. What do you think it would take for people to actually wake up? I mean, really wake up.
I don't know.
They closed out like everything. Like they go strict enforcement that nobody could go outside. Like if you come outside, you'll get arrested or something like that. Like I don't know.
You think it would take that for people to actually wake up?
Yeah.
Israel, what do you think? I know it's a tough question, but do you think? Let me ask this question this way: do you think that people are going to wake up at all?
No.
Certain people. I don't think everybody, but people who have sense, probably.
What about you, Layla?
I think that maybe if they were to like close down everything, like government orders, like you cannot open up, then maybe they'll wake up. But then again, people could just be ignorant and want to linger out in the streets. So I don't know. It depends on their mindset and how they see things.
That's why they should arrest them.
You think if people are arrested, they will take this seriously?
Yeah, because nobody want to be behind bars during this. They should want to be in the house.
Okay. All right. Anything else? What I didn't ask you all about before we close out, we talked about school and the online learning, but I didn't ask you all about food, the breakfast program, the lunch program. I asked the middle school this last week as far as missing the breakfast program and the lunch program. And many of them stated that being home stressful because they had to prepare their own foods and so forth, and it just wasn't the same as having the food in the school. Have you all had that same experience, or it's
it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, they're just younger. They can't.
Have you all been preparing your own food?
Huh?
What'd you say, Israel?
I miss the breakfast because I don't feel like cooking.
That was going to be my next question, Israel. You just answered that question. Do you all prepare your own foods for yourselves?
Yes. I have no choice.
I make fried chicken, steak, all that.
Don't forget the pork chops. Let me stop. I'm just playing.
We'll talk about that.
So let me ask you all this question, Layla and Kimberly, because you all are doing the shopping for your family. How often do you have to do the shopping for your family?
Probably, it's more or less pills for them, so like that. Shopping is like every 2 weeks, probably.
Okay. So you go outside every 2 weeks?
Just about.
Okay. And what about you, Layla?
I only go outside like if it's something that we need, like that we ran out of or that we wanted or something. But it's not like I need to go like Kimberly like every 2 weeks for her grandparents. Like I don't need to do that. But it's just like whenever I need something or want something.
Okay. Did you all stock up on food prior to this, or are you all just taking it as you stated, Layla, whenever you just need something?
It's more like essential needs. Like, we have like rice and stuff, like canned goods that work more or less, and like toilet paper and stuff like that. But like regular food, is like decent.
Okay, all right. And what were you gonna say, Layla?
We stocked up on water and stuff. Like I had to carry cases of water. You know.
You?
Right.
Yeah, me.
Okay, so most people stocked up on food, which is a good thing. And Kimberly and Layla, as you have stated, you have to go out every so often. I will tell you that Elder Lafleur actually went out this past weekend because we stocked up on food as well, and eggs and things like that. We have to purchase more often because we have our children. And he went to Costco's and he was on the line for Costco's for 3 hours.
Yes.
Actually, no, it took him 3 hours to do the entire shopping. He was online for maybe an hour and a half before he was able to get inside the stores. So when we talk about this being our new norm and the experiences that we are having now, it is certainly different as opposed to prior to the coronavirus. The fact that now you have to wait on lines to actually go into a store. And I know that, I know, Layla, you said that you don't have that experience, but these days are certainly different now. And I can't help but think to be like, as we continue to go forth, when we talk about the days are going to get worse because other things are going to come other than the coronavirus. But the new norm, life will never be the same. And I think, Layla, you stated it earlier that it's just going to never be the same for us ever again. As far as life is how we know it, what do you feel about that before we close out? That the life you once knew is never going to be the same, that you're going to have to adjust to the way that things are going. And even as we're going into the future, we're going to have to make more adjustments. That
It's scary. Not like I don't want to say I'm not scared, but like it's different. It's like, wow, I didn't expect this to happen. That's.
And Kimberly, what about you?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like we grew up, we was able to experience enough, but like the younger kids, like they're not going to experience what we used to experience, like going to the park or something like that. Just something little.
Yeah.
Go to the ice cream. You can't do that. You just gotta stay home.
Yeah.
And Israel?
It's a lot. Genesis wants to go outside, but she can't. But it's a lot for her and everybody else in here.
Yeah, it is a lot. And Kimberly, as you just mentioned, they can't even go to the playgrounds like they used to, just to enjoy the simple swinging in the swings or going on the slides and so forth. So when we talk about this being the new norm, there certainly are some very difficult days, again, for us all. But Israel, I think you stated it, and I just want to close out with this statement before we close. Israel, you stated that because we are part of the elect, we are part of the chosen, because we are following Pastor Manning as God has put him here to lead us, that we'll be just fine, and that we just need to continue to be obedient and follow all of the instructions of God Almighty. So it's very important that we continue to do that, because the days are going to get a lot worse. And we can talk about how much worse they're going to be, but to actually see it, to be able to witness how bad the days are going to get is a whole nother story in itself. And we are going to be able to witness and observe that. So I want to thank you all for sharing this time with me. Again, it's great to see your faces. Layla, you stated that in the past few weeks, this was the most that you've ever spoken to some people, and so you were excited about actually doing today's current events class. I pray that you all will continue to pray, continue to follow Pastor Manning, watch the things that you all are doing, watch the people that you all are around. And I just pray that we just continue to follow the Lord Jesus. So thank you all for sharing with me today. It was great to see you all. I want to thank Pastor Manning again for giving us this platform for you young people to be able to express yourselves. I think that this is wonderful that you all are able to speak and people are able to hear you all as young people. So thank you all again.
Oh, he coughing.
Thank you.
What are you all going to do when we hang up? What are you going to do?
I'm gonna make something to eat because I'm really hungry.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna go to work.
Then I'm gonna call Lafleur'S to get an extension on my project.
Okay, all right. Well, you all stay blessed, and I'll be talking to you all later on. Peace out.
Bye.